Hi there, Andre here from Peak Motorcycles. In this video I'm going to be talking about a product which isn't really something that I thought I would ever really use, and it's a backpack for motorcycling. Now for the most part I prefer to ride without a backpack just because I find the extra weight on my back isn't ideal, and if I need something quickly there's tank bags, you can just stop and get something out. There's plenty of other ways to get around that. Having said that, I have used a backpack a few times in the past, and that's mostly been when I've been somewhere warmer and doing something a lot more active, where actually having a camelback or a water bladder and a backpack on your back where you can have a drink whenever you feel like it and just keep yourself hydrated is really useful. I've managed without one here so far, but I did a couple of trail rides here in the UK last summer and just relied on having a water bottle in my bag and ended up not stopping enough and getting dehydrated and getting cramps and feeling generally foolish about the whole thing. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about this. So this is an Enduristan Hurricane 15 backpack. It's pretty small, so just 15 litres, and that includes the space for the water bladder. It has been designed specifically for motorcycling, and by that I mean it's got features like it's waterproof just through the zips. The straps themselves actually go really big. I mean, I'm not a small person, not by a long shot. And what I'd used in the past had been mountain biking backpacks, which are great until you've got a back protector on. If you've got body armour with shoulder and chest as well, suddenly they get really tight, especially if you're my sort of size or bigger. So just seeing just how big this goes is kind of cool. Anyway, what I'll do is I will show you it close up, show you a few of the features, show you the water bladder, give you a bit of feedback on how I've found it so far, because this isn't actually new to me. I've had it for a while, but I was waiting for a particular thing before I did the video, and I'll explain what that particular thing is. So here we go. So what I have here is a few things to show you. So first of all, that's kind of how the backpack looks. Nothing particularly remarkable. It's got a reflective Enduristan logo on the back. It's got these 4 compression straps, 2 here, 2 there, which you can unclip quickly to make it big. They just pop back on. Nothing particularly special about that. I guess most backpacks that you wear for motorcycling have something like that, but it does mean you can make it as thin as you like. Let's assume that you do have it opened up. There's a few things here. So first of all, there's these sort of bottle pockets. So these expand out underneath the compression strap, as you can probably see there. There's also a Velcro strip up there, which just mates up against that to keep it in and out of the way when you don't have a bottle in there. But you could put pretty much anything there. You could put a fuel bottle, a water bottle, whatever takes your fancy, or anything that's that shape, tool pouch even. Exactly the same on this side, Velcro and a sort of a mesh pocket that is size controlled by that compression strap, and again you can pull that on really tight so it's in. You then have a Velcro strap in here, again just for shoving anything a bit bigger like a windproof top you could put under there. And that's kind of it on the outside. Other than that, oh sorry, one more thing. It does have these extra loops if you wanted to add any of the other Enduristan bags that would actually just go straight onto there. To be honest, I'm not sure that it needs that extra capacity, and for me to put extra weight going outwards, that just adds to its ability to pull you back. But nevertheless, as it is for a 15 litre pack, with just the things on there, I think the outside is kind of useful. If I flip it over now, I'll show you what these straps are like. So it has a waist strap, which does actually go pretty big, which is handy if you're like me. Even this has these sort of webbing loops along it for attaching extra things if you have the need to do that. The back itself is quite well padded with a channel up the middle, I guess for airflow. Now on the straps themselves, there's a few things. So that's the clip for the water bladder, which I'll show you shortly. To adjust the length of these, it's actually got this sliding strap on there. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to slide it because it's set for me. But yeah, so instead of having a loose end when you're adjusting those, and if I show you where that goes on this end, it's essentially so you can have a really, really long strap. You can basically have that up all the way if you want, if you've got some really big body armour or you're a bigger person. And by bigger, I mean bigger than me, and I'm, biggish. So that's that. So looking in from the top, which hopefully you can just about see on the GoPro, you can see where those 2 straps actually go inside. You thread that back in properly. There we go. So I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but the top end of these straps actually goes in to those loops. You then get this Velcro loop here, and that goes with the water bladder, which I'll show you in a minute. Is that everything on the outside? Oh no, the buckle, how it joins up, that's always useful. It is just one, so you basically put it over and there's a chest strap that joins up like that. So yeah, it's just really easy to put on and off. it doesn't feel like it's pulling on your shoulders. I think just because the way that pulls in seems to work quite well. And then you have these lower straps, which they are kind of long, but like a lot of the Enduristan stuff, they have these little elastic loops, so you can actually pull those down so that even though they are long, the ends don't flap about. I think if you were significantly smaller, you could always cut the end off and melt the end when they were at the right length, or where you had just enough adjustability if you found that they were too long. Right, inside, this is there's just got one zip, and it's a waterproof zip. Now, I did find that this is, I think, maybe one of the downsides is the zip is quite stiff, and I think that's actually a consequence of it being one of these waterproof zips. What I found that when I first used it, it was actually too stiff, but luckily they do supply this silicone grease for putting on the zip, so once I put a layer of that on, it did go somewhat easier. It's not as easy as a non-waterproof zip, but I suppose that's the price you pay for having a bag that's pretty much waterproof as it comes. Now inside, I'll try and show you as much of this as I can. There is quite a lot in there, so bear with me. So yeah, so in here, let's see how I can hold it. So first of all, we have this pocket inside. You can see that. It's got the big main pocket, and then on this front edge, there's another zip pocket in here. There's a little key thing with an Enduristan, you know, living the brand thing on there, which is nice. And if I just turn it over, there's even sort of some sort of elasticated things for carrying a few tools, or I don't know, whatever else you want to put in there. So I do think it's quite well thought out, and there's a lot of places where you can put things, and even things, I don't know if you can see that angle that I've got that open at, it is kind of straining a bit, but I can see where the zip closes down here, it's actually got a reinforcing tab, if that will show up on the camera. So that's kind of everything, I think, for the bag itself. Oh, actually, you know what? There's some extra mounting loops just on the sides, both sides there, if you wanted to put anything else on it, and then a carrying strap on the top. I'm sure people will use this in different ways and just find places to put stuff. Now, when I first got it, the thing I was using it with was just another bladder that I had, which didn't quite fit. But you know what? I already had it. I didn't really see the point in splashing out and buying another one. However, this one did look quite interesting. So I've taken the plunge and spent not an insignificant amount of money on it. And this is the Enduristan one, and it's actually made for them by a company called Hydrapak. The first thing I noticed, it seems to be a much softer material than the water bladder that I was using before. Also, the ease with which the tube comes off is very straightforward. It literally just, there's a little button there and it just pops out. I'll show you that in a sec. It also has this sort of piece through the middle, and what this does is it essentially holds the two halves together. And what that means is that when it's really full, it doesn't go into a tube. The other one I had, if you put, I think only took 2 litres, but it essentially went into a tube shape, which meant it was sticking out more. On this one from Hydrapak, it will only go to about that sort of thickness, and it will just spread widthways because of that piece through the middle, which means it just fits nicer in the bag. It means it doesn't take up space in the middle of the backpack. It will hold 3 litres, it says, up to the maximum fill, which is huge. It also says 2.5 litres locked, so maybe that's I'm not sure if that, maybe that isn't locked, maybe I do have to slide it down. To open it, you just slide off the, oops, yeah, to open it you just slide that off the top, and then the flap comes up, and then within here you can just fill it up like that from a tap. If you can see that okay on the camera. Now that might seem like a pretty obvious thing, but my other one actually had a screw cap in the middle, which was great for filling it, but when you're trying to dry it and clean it, you couldn't just hang it upside down and let all the water run out. You had to try and get as much out through the spout and then put something in to try and hold the sides apart, which this blue thing does as well. And yeah, it just meant that you had to be really careful to stop it becoming a bit of a garden in there. So yeah, I'd run bleach through it every now and again just to kill things. Anyway, this, yeah, pretty straightforward, I think. It's just a closing clip along there. I'll put that lock back on. Next thing to talk about is the tube. So the other one I had was just a piece of plastic tubing. This, I've no idea what it's made of. It's some sort of plasticky, foamy stuff. I don't know whether that's got thermal properties or something. But yeah, that's what they've chosen. And as I said, this literally just pops in there and that clicks on, and that's that seal in. It did say you could put a bit of silicone around the seal there if it needed it, but yeah, to get it off, it's just dead easy. It just pops on and off like that. The other end of it, there's a bite valve which seems to have more than enough flow. Again, my other one, you did have to give it a bit to try and get enough out, whereas that's like that with a dust cover. Not sure if I'd leave that dust cover on because it's a bit fiddly, especially when I've got gloves, but yeah, you know, it keeps the dust out of it, keeps that gritty feeling out of your mouth. Now then, to show you how this fits in, you can basically just drop it down inside of there. I'm not going to push it in all the way because it's not full of water, and then that tab just goes through the top of there just to suspend it. Hopefully that all makes sense. So the reason why I'd waited until now to do the video is that for this Velcro patch that's on the bag, Enduristan have the option to order a custom embroidered patch to go on there where you get 3 lines of text and you can have whatever you want. So this is mine that I had made up. I sent off for it, turned up about a month later, and that just fits on there on the Velcro. Yeah, I just opted to have my name, Peak Motorcycles, and then my blood type, which is O positive, or as a friend of mine who saw me ride one day told me that I was a bit O plus. Aha. So that is pretty much it really. That is my short video about the Enduristan Hurricane 15 backpack. I'm sure I'll be using it through the year and I'll just see how I get on. I think I'll only be using it for trail riding. I don't think it's something I'm going to be using for touring, just simply because I'm normally on a bigger bike with lots of luggage space, and having that extra weight on my back, even for a water bladder, isn't something I need really. So I hope that's been interesting and useful. If it has, maybe I'll see you next time, and ride safe. Thanks for watching.